Hello, dear one. This is Balsamic Moon Tarot. You are here because you are searching. I am here because I recognize the searcher in you. Let us begin and let us discover our fullest potential together. This channel is for misfits, orphans, and mystics. Take the message as it resonates. Leave behind the rest for the person it's meant for. Alrighty, so I'm going to get right into it. This is a channeled message and it's a timeless reading. We have for the first oracle card, Authentic Expression, and we have the Mentor, number 6. There's an owl here, quite beautiful image. So the message that this is for somebody who definitely has an artistic practice, arts, crafts. I'm not quite seeing something with words like poetry or writing. I think this is definitely someone who works with visuals. It's possible that you build things, like you create furniture, or you sew, you knit, you create clothing. That's possible, but definitely somebody whose higher mind and creativity is very much focused through that third eye. Your imagination and your visions are incredibly sharp and realistic, and so the way you approach your art or your craft is in just, manifesting. It's all in bringing together the physical elements to embody that vision of yours. But yeah, I want to start there. With the Mentor, some of you are teachers or professors or some kind of educator. I don't think necessarily it's that you educate the same thing that you do for art. So as an example, maybe some of you teach English, or you teach math, whatever that is, and then you go home and you do your art practice as a totally separate thing. But some of you are indeed educators and teachers, and then some of you are students, or more like initiates, looking for mentorship and searching for mentorship and being kind of unsatisfied with the teachers that have been in your life up until this point. Okay, so if you resonate with that, stick around, listen in, take the messages as they resonate, or feel free to just, listen in as usual. You are all welcome here. If you have been drawn to this channel, if you clicked on this video, you are welcome here. So let's get going. Can I get more information about this group and what they're going through, please? That's plenty of oracle cards there. Let's start with these. We have Mint, Abundance, Persistence, Proliferation. Mint. Okay, there's a rune, but I don't read runes. But I'll just hold this up in case this rune means anything to you. There you go. We have Potion, Invigoration, Empowerment. Bird, Freedom, Opportunity. Okay. For some of you, you're actually crafting some kind of product that could be beauty oriented, beauty, skincare, fragrance. But I feel like your visual talents still come into play, because you're brilliant when it comes to designing the marketing around this, and yeah, the product design, and like just your website. Like there this is probably a new business project for you, but you bring to it your many visual talents. So whatever this business idea is for you, if this resonates with you, probably just one or two people here. If this resonates with you, this business idea is looking very promising. abundance, proliferation, invigoration, empowerment, freedom, and opportunity. Wow. So yeah, this is definitely a business idea with the potential to make you more financially independent, to help you get out of a current job that you're probably only in because you need to pay the bills, but it's probably not the line of work that actually fulfills you. So that's looking great. Now, if that doesn't resonate with you, and I think for most of you it won't, in general, what these cards are saying is that there is a period, a very like transformative period, where you're going to be very productive, and it's coming up soon if it hasn't already started. What's interesting about this is that it's almost like you are productive because you're able to close, it's almost like you're able to narrow the imaginative aspect of your psyche. Like you're able to minimize new ideas. You're kind of silencing distractions and new ideas. You might have an attention issue, but I feel like now that your creation is coming together, you're going to keep the cycle of creation going and keep it focused on the doing, on the hands, and whatever you do with your hands. You're going to keep like, it's like you're going to keep painting without needing to envision the painting before you start. You're going to do more of that, more of like a free-form improvisational type of creating, where you just get started. If you make furniture, you're just going to like get scrap wood or something and just, you know, just start putting it together, finding out ways to make it fit together. It's like you don't quite have the end in mind, but that's a testament to how advanced your craft is, right? It's a testament to just how much you excel in what you're doing, that you don't need to overthink it now. You don't need to plan every little bit in advance. You can embrace that mystery more of what you're doing, which is interesting because the mentor is showing up here with an owl, and that owl makes me think about, you know, mystery, mysterious, like mystery schools, the occult, right? So I also feel like some of you are incorporating magic or ritual more into your practice, and maybe kind of seeking others or seeking a mentor who has some guidance on that. I also think for some of you, you're just beginning to realize that your way of creating, your creative process, is itself so unique and special that it has the potential for being a class in itself. Like you're realizing that you could teach a master class in your creative process somehow, right? I'm gonna keep going. Now I'm gonna use tarot cards now to help narrow down this message. What does this group need to know at this time? Some of you are getting more mobility in general, whether that's physical or like, it seems to be pretty literal, whether that's like your body being more mobile or you're traveling more, and you're traveling more for work. We have the Three of Pentacles here. We have the King of Swords. And we have the Nine of Wands. Oh, this is very cool. I think someone here has a project where you're actually writing down like your teachings or your process. You're packaging it as a course or a textbook or a workshop. But like this King of Swords is showing to me how you're using technology to capture your wisdom And that's going to be something that invites others into your process more. Like it's almost like you're creating a manual for what you're doing, and then because of that, it's like you find assistants or interns or students or just other supportive people who are very interested in what you're doing. If this isn't so much artistic, it could be still this like specialized knowledge. So let's say some of you are familiar with or like some of you are very advanced in eco-friendly materials or like sustainability technology. You know, it's that sort of thing where you have a very important skill and now you want to get this information into more people's hands so that they can apply that information. So you're packaging it up as a book or a workshop or a course, right? So that might apply to like a couple of you. But in general, with the King of Swords, you're operating at a very like high capacity, high efficiency. You're able to prioritize so much more better now. I mentioned attention issues earlier. I think for some of you with attention issues, you're able to like find a way to mitigate the downsides of that and amplify the upsides of it. Like this King of Swords is getting stuff done. You know, it's you're getting stuff done. You're also planning ahead. Like there's just a very like high capacity mentally, especially, but like a high capacity that you're operating at right now. With the Nine of Wands, this has actually been developing for some time. You've been working very hard at whatever this specialty is that you have. And with the Three of Pentacles, like I said, it's like people are sort of coming out of the woodwork to be more supportive and to lend their own skills, to lend their own contributions. So I am getting a sense for most of you, this is more of a career and work related reading where, you know, you're advancing and you're looking at the world and the world around you for, you know, like people who can help you get to kind of expand on what you're doing. It's kind of like you're at a point where you realize that your creation is outside your hands, like it's expanded to be beyond you. You know, like you have a body of work that has enough support and impact and influence in the world that it's kind of taken a life of its own. We have the Three of Swords. Yeah, so I'm going to put it here next to the Three of Pentacles. I think there's an emotional element to this where, you know, maybe you are feeling pressure or stress about rejection or even just relationships that are experiencing tension or conflict because maybe your partner or your friend or a family member is feeling betrayed by your success or just feeling like kind of by the wayside. It might be that you feel abandoned because you're advancing in what you're doing and your partner is like not interested in that or they're not very supportive. So yeah, there's you know, it's not without some kind of growing pain is what I'm trying to say. But let's keep going because I think I touched upon why this reading is so important for you right now. So let's keep going with some tarot cards. Why the Three of Swords? Look at that. We have the Ace of Cups. Yeah. And the colors are lining up with the authentic expression cards. So this is a message about how, you know, the authentic self, your authentic expression is coming from the heart. And there's just no way we can limit that. There's no way we can compromise that. Whenever we try to limit what our heart wants to express, when we try to limit it or control it or deny it, suppress it, all of that, you know, that leads to heartbreak. It leads to pain. And so I think you're even maybe coming into a time of outward success, conventional success, but you're still struggling with feeling like it's unreal, or it's like it's somehow not a true reflection of you. Okay, sometimes we feel like frauds because we're successful in the world, but the success itself feels so, it just feels like it wasn't worth all the struggle and the striving, right? Like, just as an example, you know, maybe somebody works on a play, and they've this play, this theater, right? This stage play, they wrote the script for it during a very painful time in their life, and they put their heart and soul into this stage play, and then the play comes together, it's manifest, and you know, it is received very well by critics. It's a critical acclaim. Audiences love it. Tickets are selling out. But you feel just as lonely as you were in that dark time in your life. It's like the success did nothing for the healing that you still need to do after being traumatized by that painful experience, right? So it's this recognition that we can have an impact on the outside world, we can have success, but so much of that is out of our purview. You know, it's if we spend our time trying to control the way that happens, or trying to decide or analyze, you know, all the reactions to what we put out into the world, we're going to drive ourselves crazy. But we're also going to feel a lot of pain. We're going to feel a lot of betrayal and rejection, because we're externalizing our self-worth, right? Look at this, the Ace of Swords. Wow. Oh, and it came with another card. So here's the Ace of Swords. Here is the Three of Cups. Wow, threes are coming up. So the mentor is also showing up as a potential sign that you have an inner critic. It's possible that you have had a mentor in your life who's been quite demanding, quite critical, just given you a very high standard, a high benchmark, you know, and made it seem like you're never going to be good enough until you do X, Y, and Z, or you're not a true artist until you reach X, Y, and Z. You know, this is that conditional acceptance, right? So the lesson here is about unconditional love, unconditional acceptance. This is about radical self-acceptance. Radical self-acceptance. The threes that are showing up make me think of the Empress energy, and it's about the divine mother goddess who receives all, loves all, nurtures all, you know. Wow, look at that, the High Priestess. That is another divine feminine energy showing up here. And the the High Priestess is very psychic, very intuitive, very wise. So you have your own intuition and your own wisdom, and it's time to tap into it, especially when you are dealing with other people's projections onto you. You know, we have the Three of Cups here. That can represent a social circle or a community, especially the community that comes together at celebrations. You know, these are your people, right? Quote unquote, your people. And sometimes we have a fraught relationship to our community, because you know, they can be very supportive, but they can also withhold support in ways that we that's unclear, confusing. You know, it's just the nature of human relationships that some people's behaviors, some things they say, are confusing to us and puzzling to us. You know, that's also what the High Priestess is showing here. It's like there are certain things we just can't understand, because we can't get inside someone else's mind and heart. You know, there is inviolable consciousness in each of us. We each are independent of mind and heart, and sometimes we forget that, and sometimes we form codependencies with our friends or with our families or with our loved ones, our lovers. So this is a reminder that love, unconditional love, is available to you, but it requires you to give it to yourself, right? You don't need to sit and wait around for someone else to unconditionally love you. Unconditional love comes from the divine. It comes from source. It comes from within our own heart that is open to that divine love, okay? So the Ace of Swords is showing this clarity and this breakthrough of mind where you actually have like maybe a message or information or communication that kind of bursts the bubble. Even, you know, it kind of it gives you a reality check, honestly. A good one though. Look at that, we got the Artist. Beautiful. Right next to the High Priestess, which is very, I mean, very, you know, that's a very powerful combination right there. And then the fact that it's landing between the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Swords, yeah, so you are definitely an artist. Look at that Wheel of Fortune. And you, there you go. You're grappling with the cycles of success. You know, it's always a roller coaster. It's an up and down. It's an ebb and flow of the tide of public sentiment, right? We can't control it. It's a force of nature. We can't control people's opinions of us. We can't control what people will say about us or write about us, or even whether or not they'll support us with, yeah, like sometimes we can get frustrated because people will say that they support you, but then when you have a specific ask for their support, they are, you know, nowhere to be found. So I feel like you're struggling with this kind of wavering support of your art, whether that's in the social element and the people around you, or whether it's even in like a more fundamental thing with like your financials and the world itself, you know, being just a difficult place much of the time to survive in as an artist, right? So I do think you're struggling with that wavering support, especially now that you have a much more clear indication that what you're doing is excellent, par excellent. Like you have accomplished in your craft or in your art some of the best work you've ever done in your life. It's like you feel that sense of accomplishment, you feel that pride in your work. So I understand how it can be a bit frustrating to feel like you're putting your best stuff out there and it's not quite giving, you know, the world itself is not quite giving you what you feel owed in return. And so that's the trap that we can fall into, is thinking that, you know, by doing our best work, we're supposed to kind of get rewarded in kind. And the fact is that material rewards, the idea of rewards itself from the external world is it's basically out of our control. And what I'm trying to say is that the more we focus on it, the more we feel entitled to it, the more it kind of slips through our hands. It's like water, you know, the more we try to capture water, the more difficult it is to like, maybe that's the wrong metaphor. More like fish. Nine of Cups. Okay, help me out, cards. What am I trying to say here? Nine of Cups and the Hermit, which is another 9. Yeah, this is about finding that happiness on your own, okay? Again, it just goes back to you can't control what other people think or say about you, and it seems like it seems like you're a bit trapped in, and again, this is what we all go through, right? You're a bit trapped in, oh, it's the trappings of success. Exactly, it's the trappings of success. Sometimes we have enough success that it starts to take up too much of our attention and energy. And then we lose that perspective because we think that if, you know, it's like watching a line graph that goes up and down. You know how people watch the stock market? It's like we're constantly paying attention to this indicator of success, and then our emotional well-being is now dependent on this line graph, you know. That indicator of success, whatever you're paying attention to, whether it's someone's opinion or the grant money that you're trying to get or the investor that you're trying to get, you know, whatever it is that has your focus right now, it has a caveat. So I'm not trying to say ignore it entirely. I'm trying to say remember where your happiness truly comes from, okay? Because we can pay attention to the outside world, but the moment that we rest our happiness on something beyond ourselves, something beyond our own hearts and minds, that's when we suffer. And so the hermit is this reminder that's that lantern, right? The lantern is the guide through those confusing times. The lantern is, you know, your reason for being, your purpose, your dharma, your fulfillment. It's in your hands. Um, Sometimes we need spirituality to guide us through a very difficult time in our careers, okay? So there is no separation between the sacred and the earthly, or the, you know, sacred and profane is one way we look at that dichotomy. And it's really just two ends of a spectrum, right? It's really just two magnetic poles, and we don't, we can't separate the two, is what I'm trying to say. It's possible that you are in need of a more spiritual perspective with regard to this aspect of your career or your working life. We have the Nine of Cups here as well, which can show somebody who is quite happy and quite fulfilled. They certainly have money. It's showing a man who's got some wealth because he has this coin purse that's very full, and he's got 9 glasses of wine, right? So it's like he's kind of got all the wine he could ever need. So it's a fulfillment here. It's the end, you know, it's an apex moment. It's a sense of accomplishment and a dream fulfillment. You're getting what you strive for, you're getting what you wish for. So there is happiness here. But it's also kind of like on the roller coaster when you reach that peak. It's the peak experience, but it's also the acknowledgement that it's only downhill from here. So it's riding that wave and getting to the crest of the wave, and then looking before you at like, oh, this is the peak, you know? And so we can have a difficult time trying to hold on to a peak experience, or trying to stay at the peak of our career or whatever it is, right? So the point here is to go with the flow, because the Ace of Cups is here with the lotus flower, and the Ace of Swords with the King of Swords is showing higher mind. That's a similar energy with the High Priestess and the Hermit. So there is a wisdom, a perspective here. Maybe you've been trying to find it from a mentor in the outside world, but it's actually coming from within you. So go within. Maybe even look for spiritual teachings or mystical writings, mystical teachings that help you go within, that help you tap into your own spiritual intuition. Okay, so that is the bulk of your message. I'm going to pull a few more cards just to wrap this up and give you any other messages or pieces of advice from your guides. I will, yes, let's look at this oracle deck. I'm going to pull a few more oracle cards, and then that should do it. So what is the message for this group? What is the response to what I just said, or clarification, additional information, advice, prediction? This deck is acting like it doesn't need to say anything. There we go. Abundance. Okay. Oh, wow. It's funny that I looked at it like the upside down. Oh my gosh, and it's the number 9. Okay. Wow. Talk about talk about synchronicity, right? There's 9 and 9 and 9, 3 nines. Abundance. Nine of Cups. 999 could be an angel number for you. So I'm seeing a very interesting card. I feel like with these colors, it reminds me of the chakra system, even though that's not depicted here. I do think of the chakra system when I look at this. I also think of, if some of you maybe are familiar with some mystery schools or like alchemical teachings or hermeticism, I know there's the concept of the Merkaba, which is like the, you know, the energy field around us. I won't go into that actually. I'll just tell you, it might be something you want to look into, is the Merkaba. Merkaba, I believe is how it's spelled. But we also have a whale here, which talks about going into the depths, right? Submerging into the oceanic depths of the divine. So I think you have been dealing with some trappings of success or some kind of work-related expectation or pressure, you know, sort of pressure you're putting on yourself or pressure you're feeling from the outside world. And this is a message to go deeper. Go deeper into your practice. There is a spiritual element about what you do, and that will never exhaust itself. That is an infinite potential of beauty and wisdom. So maybe, you know, approaching your work by trying to bring more of the sacred into it, by trying to make it more ceremonial even, could be helpful. And with the abundance card, you know, it is also this reminder of moving away from a scarcity mindset and moving towards an abundance mindset. When we realize that there is infinite potential and that we will, you know, the universe is here to support us and our will and our desire, our creativity. When we realize that we can tap into this, as long as we hold a pure intention, that abundance flows into our lives. Okay. Is there a blockage is there like an emotional or spiritual or psychological blockage that is preventing you from feeling that flow of abundance? Maybe that's the question here. Sometimes it's just about balance, you know, it's just alignment. Do you feel like there's something you're doing that is misaligned with your values or with your principles or your highest self? Check in with your higher self and ask your higher self, you know, what is out of alignment in my life? But yes, abundance is also about flow. It's about being able to release as well in order to receive. So sometimes we need to release an attachment, or you know, usually attachment comes in the, when I say attachment, I mean so many things. I can mean a feeling that you're attached to, a memory that you're attached to, an expectation, a concern, a fear, and anxiety. Sometimes we have an attachment that is blocking that sense of abundance. So maybe that also needs to be addressed. These are just ideas. Take whatever resonates for you and leave behind the rest. I will, yes, wow. So we have bound and we have rise. I'm going to put this like this so you can see bound and rise. Okay, this is an important message. Very much like what I was saying, that you may be attached to something that no longer serves you, or it never served you even. Like, it's possible that you're attached to an idea of success that doesn't serve you, or some kind of validation that you're seeking. Rise, okay? Let go of those attachments, let go of those notions of self, those notions that limit your sense of self, and be free. Again, remember, we have the bird, freedom and opportunity. Maybe it's about taking an opportunity that's presented that might be outside your comfort zone, and it might feel a bit unusual or you know, maybe it's an opportunity that you wouldn't have considered a year ago or 2 years ago, but you're ready to do it now because you feel much more freer to be whoever you want to be. You don't have to conform to this idea, this stagnant idea of who you are, what you're supposed to do in this life. So it's beautiful energy showing up there. What else do we have for this group? This potential. Yeah, infinite potential. Wow. It might be too difficult to see the image, but it's a night sky. It's the Milky Way, actually, above a mountain peak. So in the distance you can see there's a mountain peak and the Milky Way is like right behind it. Beautiful, beautiful image. So often, like with the Hermit, you know, often our potential is not something that is immediately clear to us. It takes searching, it takes seeking, it takes spiritual receptivity, being receptive to tapping into unexplored aspects of ourselves, right? There's you have a potential here that hasn't been explored. So whatever is the first thing that comes to mind for you, that's probably what this is referring to. A couple more messages and then we'll wrap it up. What else does this group need to know? Nice, death of the deceitful. Exactly. So just confirmation, especially with the Ace of Swords and the King of Swords, death of the deceitful. Authentic expression. Yeah, there's no reason to hide who you are. There's no reason to compromise your integrity in your work. There's no reason to compromise your values. Death of the deceitful. You are you're going to start to recognize more who or what around you is in alignment. Yeah. I think your idea of success is transforming as I speak. There's a new version of what the good life looks like to you. There's a new version of happiness, new version of success. That vision, that new vision is coming through. And I think one thing you're realizing is that you don't actually need the mentor, you know. So I mentioned, like, maybe some of you are seeking mentorship. I don't know that you actually need the mentor you're imagining in your mind. I think there's mentorship, there's lessons to be learned in the entire world around you, in the entire cosmos. You can be freer to envision the idea of mentorship and learning. Yeah, wow. So that is your message. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you at the next video. Take care now.